My name's Zerkovich, and Creative Assembly have enlisted my help with this video to guide you to glory in Total War Warhammer 2. To initiate negotiations with another faction, click on the diplomacy button on the bottom right of the campaign UI. This will let you see all the important information of all factions you've discovered, including your own. You'll be able to see your reliability rating, which can change depending on how you treat other factions and whether you're trustworthy or not. You'll also be able to see all your defensive allies, military allies, enemies, and trade partners, as well as how much income you're gaining from them and what resources you may be trading. In the middle section, you'll find out all the important information about all other discovered factions. You can see the strength rank and strength bar, which tells you how strong the faction is in relation to you and how many settlements they control. Treaties, any agreements you've made with other factions, such as non-aggression pacts or quite simply being at war with another faction. War targets can be given to an allied faction where you can agree to both attack the same settlement or army, useful for coordinating attacks. Then you have your trade agreements. It'll tell you whether you can get a trade agreement with a certain faction, whether you already have one and how much it's giving you, or whether there is one available. And then one of the most important parts to pay attention to, your relations and attitude with other factions. The colour of the face will tell you what attitude the faction has towards you. You'll be able to see all the positive and negative factors affecting your relationship with that faction. If a relationship should greatly decline, there's a good chance you'll end up going to war with the faction. If it greatly improves, there's a good chance you'll gain an ally. So you'll need to think carefully to determine the best course of action. On the far right, you'll see all the information about your targeted faction, such as allies and enemies. So try not to be too hasty with your actions, as going to war with everyone in sight is generally not a good idea. To engage a specific faction in diplomacy, a simple left click will show you where they are, with a double click taking you into diplomacy with them. This is where you can add offers and demands which will shape your relationship. And there are many different options available. Some of these will have a chance of success, which is rated low, moderate or high, with the chance of success possibly increasing as you become more friendly with the faction. The ideal starting point for any friendly relationship to begin is a non-aggression pact. This quite simply means you agree not to attack each other. A faction breaking a non-aggression pact will incur a significant diplomatic penalty, which makes it less likely that other factions will trust them in the future. Trade agreements are a great way to gain some extra income. All the goods you've acquired from resource buildings can be traded for that extra income. Now, if you should move through another faction's lands without their permission, you will acquire penalties, unless you get military access. This means you freely allow each other to move through one another's territories. And then once you become friendly enough, you'll be able to get a defensive alliance, meaning you agree to protect each other should enemies attack. A military alliance is a stronger version of a defensive alliance and will replace the latter if signed. Military allies can work together to crush any mutual enemies. However, significant diplomatic standing is required before such an alliance can be agreed upon. Lastly, if you're negotiating with another faction of the same race, you may have the option to confederate. This means that their faction will be assimilated into your own, but be careful because you will inherit their armies, economy, and take a hefty public order penalty. You can also ask factions to break treaties with each other. This may take some persuasion, but can help you shape the diplomatic world. A good potential method of persuasion is payments. You can offer to give people money to simply increase their relationship to you, or to help sway them to a decision that you want. Or you could demand payments of them in exchange for your services, such as joining a war. If a faction looks to be in trouble from an enemy, you could ask for money in exchange for you going to war with that faction, or ask someone to join one of your wars. And finally, of course, declaring war is the ultimate act of aggression that can lead to battle. As an example of diplomacy, let's say I want to get a non-aggression pact and a trade agreement with Illyrian here. It's got a moderate chance of success. I'm going to go for it. They've rejected my offer. I could give up here, but I think a little gentle persuasion should do the job. I'll go for the same thing again, but this time I'm going to add some money into the equation. I'll offer them a significant payment, which should sway their decision. I feel like 3,000 might not be enough, so we'll go a little bit more and see if that helps. It's still a moderate chance, but they have accepted. So be sure to negotiate wisely with other factions, as you may need some allies along the way.